folks, we are back and we're bringing you the match that I think certainly a few of you out there, this is the game that you've been waiting for. Let's get right onto it. In the top right hand corner, in the pink, representing Team Acer, it is the Zerg player Scarlett.
And her opponent, by the way, she cannot speak English at the moment.
That is true.
Is going to be the evil genius. From Canada as well, it is the Red Protoss HuK. Did you know that this is a rematch of a best of 7 that was actually on Ding It not too long ago?
I did not know that.
Yep. About 3 weeks ago, I would say. Maybe a little less than a month ago, they actually ended up doing a show match here, best of 7, that Scarlett ended up taking 4-3.
Okay, well, that's very close.
Yep. So it's down to the wire, and Scarlett was able to just take it. And we'll see if this 3 is going to repeat itself here, as the players have spawned here on Overgrowth, and there aren't any crazy shenanigans going on just yet. Scarlett did open with that pool first. And HuK doing his thing with that gateway. Whoa, okay, gateway core into the Nexus, and he's already chrono boosting out his warp gate, so we may see just a little bit of aggression. You think so?
Maybe. Sometimes you put one chrono boost into your warp gate if you're planning on putting on kind of early mid-game aggression. It's very standard to do that, but it depends how much he puts in and how he does it, because you can also see things like 2 base 3 and 4 gate, which are a little closer to all in, and dropping the damage down as early as possible on a Zerg opponent. Obviously, these two know each other, so this could be like when you see two teammates play each other. If these two play each other a lot, they're going to be mind gamesing hard.
Yeah. And yeah, I would agree as well. And it's funny because they both have quite different styles as far as just straight up gameplay goes. When you think of HuK, you think of aggression, you think of gateways, you think of I'm coming to kill you type of play. But, you know, Scarlett is a player that has died a few times for being a little bit too greedy. So we'll see. I mean, especially because they have played each other before. I mean, I'm sure she's well aware of what that HuK knows some of her weaknesses if he was going to actually try to exploit it. So this is a bit different, though. I haven't seen an Evo Chamber coming up in the main of Scarlett quite early.
That is actually very early. Unless we're seeing perhaps something like a 2-base Roach style. Of course, there is no third at this point in time. We see the speed coming down, so it could be something like Roach Bane, especially if we know that there's a weak wall at the front for HuK. I'm not saying there is necessarily a weak wall, but it is the way the wall is built could leave potential openings for a Baneling attack to come through, a big Ling swell, as is being made right now by Scarlett to come through, and these Stalkers putting on the pressure out of HuK. Going to kill off a couple of Overlords if they can. Yep, 2 Overlords killed off. Scarlett's supply blocked. Those Lings though, there's the speed. This is what she was looking for, getting that sandwich on the Stalkers.
Yeah, she's going to get a few kills here. The Queens are putting in work. Another one is going to go down, but the Mothership core is still there. So if any hits go onto that Queen, then the Mothership core will be able to finish it off. But that speed has completed. We're seeing +1 melee come out, and you know, a good way to deal with a lot of gateway pressure, especially in the mid game, is for 1/1lings. But she only went for 1 attack upgrade here. Not going to get that armor upgrade. And, you know, if HuK is not going for a Forge very early, then it's not going to be the biggest of deals, but he will.
As you say, the Forge comes down. It's not very early, though, of course. That does mean the upgrade is still a decent way off for HuK, and Scarlett's going to have a decent lead where she doesn't need to go for double upgrades just to maintain pace with her Protoss opponent.
Yeah, she decided to go ahead and use that gas in order to go ahead and grab that lair, so she's not going to just try to counterattack with Lings and win the game. It doesn't usually work against Protoss, and it's not going to work here. But she's going to go ahead, grab that third. Lair is on the way, but we're still only seeing 1 gas, so I don't think she's going to be going into really fast mutas. Maybe just seeing a lot of droning here and just kind of testing the waters to see what HuK decides to do, whether he goes for that 3rd base, and whether she can get some scouting information to see exactly what kind of tech he wants to follow up that very aggressive opener with. So, but this is really cool, you know. I love Lings, man. Just, of course, when you get sentried out or time warp, they don't really be as effective, but
No, but then they get those big surrounds on the Stalkers, and the Stalkers don't get to do anything. Like, they're not a DPS unit designed to deal with things. You've got to have that Zealot composition. It means that the optimum composition out of a Protoss is always very varied depending on what the Zerg is going for. Zerg used to be called the reactive race or the reactionary race, and they still are to a certain extent, but I think it's become much more kind of back and forth in a number of ways between the two, with both races, Protoss and Zerg, able to force decisions out of each other. In this moment right now, HuK's decision to put down a third base has forced a lot of Lings out of Scarlet, because she wants to try and force the cancel. And instead, with these sentries out on the map, I'm not sure whether she's going to be able to get away with it, as long as the force fields remain good for HuK. Not sure about that, though.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of damage. +1 has just now completed, and HuK may not have been expecting this, because they're doing massive amounts of damage incredibly fast, and neither of these, well, none of the gateway units have any upgrades, but I think he's going to be able to hold and actually take his third. But last minute force field going down here. HuK will hold and be able to get his base up. We also saw an infestation pit coming out of Scarlett, so I wonder if we see a fast hive or if we will see... It depends. I mean, I've seen a lot of different styles out of Zerg that do like to go for the melee upgrades. So you may have been expecting like a blink type of play out of HuK, which upgraded Lings will do exceptionally well against. But yeah, there goes the hive.
Yeah, well, I mean, you say that, but HuK is researching Blink right now, getting the +2, getting Blink. This is quite reminiscent of Crank's style in general, in that you get a large amount of Blink Stalkers and use it to defend against almost anything. But then Scarlett, if we look across the map, is going to be fairly ready for that, because if she goes towards Hive, she gets the option to have Vipers, which obviously can be killed off by Stalkers, but can also do a good damage against Stalkers by negating their ability to attack at any kind of range. It's all about working out who's going to counter who at what time, and sometimes that can swing in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, no pun intended.
I didn't even notice that.
Yep. But look at this, though. I think Scarlett is being very smart here by forcing out... HuK not going to go and bite. You know, forcing out those force fields really quickly in order so that the next follow-up attack isn't as strong. But look at HuK. He's already saturated on 3 bases. He's on 67 probes, and Scarlett is just now getting her third up, and she needs to realize, or at least identify what HuK is going to be trying to do here, because... I feel like she's going to go to Hive, and we haven't seen pathogen glands or anything like that, so it's not like the Infestor with the Infestors with the Ultras or anything like that. But even if you just bring a bunch of Queens too, Ultras can do incredibly well. Yeah, you bring some Queens. She's been making Queens. She's up to 5 already. And it's all up to the SimCity. Usually when you do a push like this, if you do get that 2-2 Ultra with a lot of Queens and creep spread, I'm wondering if that's what she wants to do, as the Ultralisk Cavern does go down. Adrenal Glands. These Lings are going to be so effective because the Ultras will just make the sentries pretty useless.
Yeah, they will just bust through those force fields like they don't even exist. But HuK's going to push out now, before all of that tech has kind of kicked in, as Adrenal Gland is still researching, before there's even any +2 weapons out for Scarlett. And we're going to see HuK try and make something happen with this push. There's no Mothership core with this, though. So if it goes wrong, it's staying wrong. Yeah,
quite a bit. And the Ultralisk Cavern is just now completed. And I'm just wondering, man, this is kind of crazy. Is this push going to do critical damage before the Ultras do come out? Because if the Ultras do pop out and HuK is not expecting it, and he doesn't have his Mothership core, okay, it is on the way. But the Queens can snipe that. Keep that in mind. You know, he has to be very careful with that.
Well, that 4th base is going down, that's for sure. Big Ling attack back at HuK's side of the map, just trying to bust through the natural. I think there could well be enough sentries warped. Yeah, sentries being warped in now, and the recall after the death of the 3rd is going to mean that this force is driven away. And this many Lings, when you see this, you pretty much know what you're up against. You don't see this many Zerglings unless there's going to be Ultras. And in fact, looking at those Stalkers that HuK just blinked away, he's seen the Ultralisks now. He's confirmed it 100% certain, Ling Ultra style.
Yep, perfect response already from HuK, though. He's going into double Stargate. Although you would usually want to get Immortals out, Stargates are going to do pretty well against it. But it's about that time. You need to get those Void Rays or... Well, he's actually going to be going for Phoenix. He's thinking Mutas at the moment, and Scarlett did drop the Spire, but she's getting a greater Spire instead. It's going to be this, crazy high-tech Zerg army that we do see out of our Canadian Zerg. But look at this side of the main... All she would hope for is an Ultralisk to just pop up there and run right up that ramp.
Well, yeah, they'll have to try and get back, but as it is, they're across the map at the moment, trying to attack into HuK's natural. Stalker's being blinked back. There's two Phoenixes immediately revealed to the Ultras, so Scarlett might be put off from any kind of muted transition because of that, but the Lings and Ultras are going straight for the third base. Photon Overcharge is not going to be any kind of defense against these units, and the third goes down so quickly.
Oh my god, she's going in right now and just taking out all these units of HuK, who was expecting some kind of Nuda transition, but now here come the Ultralists not caring, but inside of the main of Scarlett, a lot of damage is being done. The Great Aspire has been targeted, but 4 Ultralists are going to pop out. I don't know what HuK is going to do from here. He has to survive, because this is going to get cleaned up in the main relatively easily. And now HuK is only down to 2 base.
Yeah, you don't want to be on T-base at this point in the game as a Protoss. Your main is about to start mining out, and Scarlett retaking her 4th as well is securing a strong economic lead with 80 drones. The Phoenixes are just going to look, well, they were just following around those Ultras for a moment, so they can keep tabs on the army. But the composition of HuK is changing quickly. Adding on Void Rays, adding on Colossi to deal with those Lings. This could still be feasible for him to hold out, because he did get a lot of money out of that third base. However, Scarlett is looking really good, taking all the map and spreading the creep everywhere. It's going to be very difficult. Very difficult for HuK to take
especially
this.
because HuK is trying to transition right now in order to deal with this army, but losing that third and not having like a 4th one to fall back on, so at least he's on 3-base economy. He's going to find it very hard to actually add on Colossus, to add on Double Void Ray, to add on all those high-tech, high-gas units. He's just going to have to buy time, and that's what he's trying to do with these Warpins.
I'm just seeing these Corruptors coming in, man. They're going to kill off all of those. They're going to kill off the Prism. Not going to be able to kill the Sentries, obviously, but they don't care about them either because they're so tanky as a unit themselves. The Lings will probably be left to clean that up pretty effectively. And the Great Aspire still stands, which at least HuK has scouted now, but what... I'm just
a lot
trying
of drones
to
are
work
actually
out
falling
what
still
I do
here. Yeah, what can HuK do?
It's so challenging to work yourself into a situation to deal with this, and on 2 bases you can turtle pretty nicely against the Zerg for a little while, but it's not going to matter once Scarlett builds up the army she really wants. At this point it's Corruptors, it's which, you know, do okay against Void Rays, but Void Rays are probably better by some margin. Then the Ultras can kill everything on the ground. Colossi don't do that much damage against Ultralists, but will kill off the Lings. And it's going to come down to the fight taken and whether Scarlett can remax afterwards. She's going to have amazing money to do so.
She will. And this is the location that HuK has to defend, this whole wide area. You know, his tech is in his main, but his lifeline is at that third, as the natural is already starting to mine out. And Scarlett is going in for it. I feel like should she have enough with the Queen, she will be able to deal with those Void Rays a little bit better. And as soon as that Prismatic Alignment goes down, she can fall back. But once the Queens are off the creep over there, there is actually no falling back. So she's fully committed into this attack, and we'll see if she decides to remax.
Popping down a Void Ray straight away. There's too many Corruptors, I think, for those Voids to really handle. You can make 20 Corruptors at a time, but you can only make 2 Voids when you've only got 2 Stargates. So that's why all of these guys are, I think, going to get picked up. Being transfused back to health as well, even with the superior tanking on a Void Ray, even with reinforcements coming in. Queens and Corruptors are just looking too good, and the Ultras are going to swing on forwards and try and kill off everything on the ground as well.
Yep, the positioning of HuK was so good. He was at his third, holding it down with that Immortal and the Colossus firing at that army, but there's just too much here for Scarlett. The transfuses are real, the GG is realer, and Scarlett will be able to take game number 1 in this best-of-3 series. Alright, we are back here on King Sejong Station. Oh my god, did you see the in-game banter? It's fading away.
I did, it's gone now.
Spawning in the bottom right corner, representing Acer as well as Canada, it is going to be the pink Zerg player, Scarlett.
And her opponent across the map, down a game already and hoping to stay alive in the not losers half of the bracket. In the red, representing Team Evil Geniuses, it is HuK.
And opening up with a Forge first, changing things up on King Sejong. But he is going to go right into the Nexus, so not going to see any of that cannon rush coming out of him, as you might have seen the timing of the hatchery and realized that Scarlett decided to go for the pool first, unless she took her third, like, you know, on the other side of the map, you know, 3 hours before pool with the third taken first or something, but that wasn't the case.
No. I mean, I would have liked to have seen it, but obviously with HuK having opened Forge, you don't want to go through hatch before pool. That is a bad
No.
plan.
Mm-mm.
That is a
Would
good
not
way
end
to
very
end
well
up.
for you at all. No, no.
No, and we
Good
did
way
see
to
that
end up
before,
with a
didn't
one
we?
hatch before pool because it's probably not gonna go up.
Yeah. Yeah, was it Parting who did that to someone on this map who opened 3 hatch before pool? It might have been, I can't remember who it was, to be honest. I'm pretty sure we saw a very, very aggressive cannon rush come out of Parting at least 4 times a day. And
in a best of 3.
yeah, that wouldn't even surprise me. I'm pretty sure we saw him cannon rush the natural and then the third at some point on this map. These guys are going to be so aggressive with their cannons. And HuK instead just opting to go for a straight Forge fast expand. There was no cannon rush there. Scarlett was on top of it. He didn't even try.
Not even gonna bother. Doesn't want to be behind by failing a cannon rush. If he were to, he's just gonna take it. Very safe for opening when you do go for the Forge and then the Nexus. So in case Scarlett had decided to go and do something kind of crazy with some kind of 7 pool or anything like that, he just took it and played it very safe. And he's gonna have himself a very secure natural. While Scarlett is going for that third base herself, already moving that queen down, and you see that the creep. This is this little unit here that you see it at the natural there.
I do, yeah.
That creep tumor, right? This is like
Scarlett's best friend.
Yeah, like on Facebook, she pokes it all the time, and it pokes it as well. And it's just like, yo, we're gonna do things together, and it's gonna be amazing. We're gonna take over this whole map, and that's exactly what we're probably gonna see. As she's amazing at spreading that creep, so we'll see exactly how this game does turn out for both of these players. As HuK looking pretty standard. With that +1 coming, no Chrono Boost on the Warp Gate just yet, but look at that. A Probe is getting ready to take an incredibly fast third.
I kind of like the decision to go for a fast third on this map because you have a backwards third with a fairly kind of semi-defensible choke, I would say. It's not too hard to defend. When a Zerg goes for a fast third base, sometimes they use it just to put on aggression, they use it for extra lava, but at other times, it's used for droning up, just straight droning, nice and clean, and we see a big macro game come out of both these players. We know Scarlett can play aggressive. We know she likes, in general, to play macro. So why, if HuK's taking a fast third, would she not just take a 4th base and feel good about it?
Well, this is pretty crazy. HuK has just now dropped down 3 additional gateways, and then he drops 2 Chrono Boost, 1 on the +1 and 1 on the Warp Gate. So if Scarlett doesn't confirm that HuK is trying to take... Oh, he is trying to take the third still.
Yeah.
But she may not know that those 3 gateways had gone down, or the aggressive Chrono Boost. So sometimes you will see this where a Protoss player will take that third base, but not even probe it up. But HuK is continuing to make probes, so he's not just going fully all in on here.
Yeah, we saw that yesterday, didn't we, in Parting versus Bly, where Parting took the third and then just decided to not actually put any probes towards it and go for basically a 2-base all-in with a safety third behind it just to keep things alive. And now the third base for HuK, he's basically feigning pressure, getting that pylon out on the map, which can be used later for actual pressure. Those gates, of course, being opened up in the natural, that will be used to deploy that damage when needed. And in fact, now being warped in. It's happening. This is the pressure.
He's gonna warp in. Look at this, 3 Zealots for now, but Scarlett playing it a bit safe with 6 Roaches. But she's also droning up. She just made 10 drones behind this, but now she sees it, and it's like, okay, at least this isn't 8 Zealots or something crazy, like a whole Stalker and Sentry Force. It is going to be thwarted pretty easily, as the Roaches are pretty damn good against Zealots at this stage of the game, at least. And usually most stages of the game, actually, but...
And the interesting thing about this particular warp-in, the timing of the warp-in tells Scarlett a lot about what HuK is doing. In warping in at 8:30, he basically reveals that he hasn't gone for any kind of chrono into the cyber core at all. It is not rushed out. It is a straight Forge, Nexus, Gateway, Cyber kind of expand, where you don't put any chrono boost into anything but your ecom, and that tells that she's lining up for some kind, is lining up for some kind of macro play in general. Might not even have that much tech going on back at home.
Gonna miss that. This force fields could be a little bit better, but Scarlett is gonna be putting on the pressure just a little bit as a lot more Roaches do come here. Road speed is about to finish, and 10 more are in production. HuK, though, he secured his third, and he's probably feeling pretty good at the moment, as he does already have his Robo facility out. Blink is getting Chrono boosted as well, and I don't think this force right here is going to be able to break HuK, but it really depends on how many Roaches Scarlett is going to be making here. I think she's just going to go for... Okay, never mind. I thought she was just going to just boom, super roach, go ham. Maybe even a burrow, but nope. She drops an infestation pit and then is starting to get her upgrades here. So not going to bypass those upgrades.
It's really smart, though. It just means that Scarlett, in covering this 4th base that she's taking, she puts on that pressure to make sure that it doesn't get killed off before it's time, to make sure that she establishes the creep spread and the push forward of her macro, including more and more general units to have in case we see a counter swing from HuK. So by being aggressive, she actually ends up being defensive on 2 counts. It's really, really intelligent play out of Scarlett.
And she looks like she's going to be going for Swarm Host. I saw the infestation pit go down. Swarm Host is going to be the choice of tech on this map. And HuK here, has he even dropped his Robo Bay? I don't think we have seen one yet. HuK is going to just be pulling I was trying to think who does this kind of thing here. Blink Stalkers with some Immortals, and then with a bunch of sentries, but there's really not that many sentries. And
Crank style.
Oh yeah, Crank does something like this as well.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he had to drop out yesterday because of personal reasons that we don't know anything about. I love that the roaches are trying to break down the rocks. I don't think...
Oh, whoa, be careful there, HuK.
Whoa. I was actually pretty worried for a second there.
It's actually really nice there, especially after getting those force fields on those roaches. But now the Swarm Hosts are going to be revealed, but there are not that many of them right now. And Scarlett is droning. She's putting 11 drones behind this. And if the Swarm Hosts scare HuK away, this would be great. But if HuK isn't fearing them, then he may be able to push on through and get quite a bit of damage done. Maybe even get this 4th base before having to head home.
I do not think HuK is fearing at all. HuK pushing forward now, blinking those Stalkers forward rather than back. Going to be jumping in, sniping out the spines, picking off the roaches that are walled out behind the force fields, and the Locusts can't even get into the fight. They're just kept out by those force fields. HuK could be blinking back perhaps a tiny bit better, but now going forward once again. That's why he's not doing it. He just wants to make this kill on this 4th. Keep Scarlett economically suppressed.
And he knows exactly what's going on here. Scarlett wanted to be left alone right there so that she'd have a comfortable 4th, and then be able to get a comfortable amount of Swarm Hosts out. But no, HuK does not want to deal with that. He's going to go ahead and drop down. He's getting a Robo Bay and an additional robotics facility and a Warp Prism from that robotics facility that he has already. Oh, we saw HuK deal with this incredibly well in his round of 32 match against the Swarm Host, identifying it early, getting a sick macro start, and then just blinking all over the place, Warp Prisms, getting another 4th maybe. Maybe so. I don't know what his plan is here, except for just making a bunch of Colossi.
Well, he's sending something out towards the 4th base, so that looks like it could be one coming down in just a moment over on the right-hand side of the map. But the Swarm Host count is going ever higher for Scarlett. And HuK, you really can't fight Swarm Hosts without... I mean, Blink Stalkers can kind of do okay as long as they don't take any damage, but... You want to have Colossi, and now with double Colossi coming out, with +3 on their way, this is going to be an interesting fight. I think we could see this going towards the late game now, as every caster ever said when Swarm Hosts were produced.
Well, and King Sejong is the perfect map for it. Scarlett immediately cancels that 5th base, and this is what HuK is doing. He's buying time to get his Colossi out, while never allowing Scarlett to be mining any more gas than on 3 base. So this is the real nice response. A Warp Prism is going into the main. Does Scarlett even see it, though? I don't think... Oh, she does. So
she sees it now.
Yep.
Yeah, whooping in those Zealots at a critical moment, denying the Spine Crawler going down, actually. It's going to get probably a couple of drones, maybe, but not do that much damage. Gets a critical scout on the Hive timing, though. Sees that the... no, that's not a Spire, that's it. Oh, killing the 4th in another moment.
Yep.
Nice.
Keeping Scarlett on 3 bases this whole time while putting on massive amounts of pressure and then taking a 4th of his own. So even though Scarlett does have these units, the very cost-effective... cost-effective Swarm Host... He's making this work incredibly well, like, so active around the map, everywhere. Even if he doesn't get that much done with the Zealots, it's just the time that he's buying. Scarlett can't spread her creep up and can't siege up on HuK and deny the 4th, as HuK does double-produce Colossi behind it, so he's not wasting his supply. Just, he could probably fill up his whole supply in Zealots right now, but that's not what he wants to do. He wants to get those good units that can deal with the Swarm Host while getting the best use out of his Blink Stalkers.
And I actually think he's going to try and trade out those Stalkers in the near future, but right now, putting them to use, as you said.
Yep, and just the attention. Taking the attention of Scarlett all over the place. Those are only 2 Zealots. Not even that big of a deal. But here comes the units
down again.
The middle. Yep. And there's nothing to defend these Swarm Hosts. Is there even an Observer here, though? I don't see one.
There has to be. They're being killed.
Yeah.
It has to be. Like, Protoss has got the Oracle and the Observer, and I don't see an Oracle there, Tempo, so there's got to be an Observer in there somewhere.
There is. There it is, hiding there. I mean, I must have had HuK. I must have had like a Scarlet Vision or something. But
Yeah, maybe. Maybe
you
it's
know
map
what? This is
hacking.
perfect, right? Warp in observers. I didn't know you could do that.
Cheeky. So yeah, great Colossus count coming out of HuK at this point. You're going to be able to engage the army pretty effectively. And we've seen players like MC do really, really well against Swarm Host styles, against all sorts of styles out of Zerg by just having a decent Colossus count and a ton of Blink Stalkers. Pure Blink Stalker army. And that kind of looks like what we might be seeing out of HuK here, with 5 Colossi, and pretty much everything else is a Stalker with just a couple of Sentries and Immortals mixed in.
Yeah, and I love this too. He's going to be getting the Observer speed and also getting the Warp Prism speed. So this is the exact kind of play we've seen him do against Swarm Host, and he's actually gotten incredibly well at doing this. It's really a different player when you see HuK play like this in the late game, and you always think of him as like an all-in type of player. But no, he has such a solid understanding about how to play against Swarm Host right now. It's all going to be up to the execution for the rest of the game and how long he can continue to put the pressure on as all the Vipers are getting sniped. Although one of the Colossi does get pulled. Hey, that's
only one. He's still got 4. He's still got 4.
Yeah,
attack into the main as well with these Zealots going to be doing a run by. The Spine Crawler defense, of course, from Scarlett looking pretty strong at this point, so that's a fair bit of money being spent on not a lot of return out of HuK. Does get a Queen, though, which is always nice, denying the larval production, but Swarm Hosts don't actually need larvae to make their Locusts, so it's maybe not the biggest thing in the world.
Just thinning up that Viper count and making Scarlett make him again, and then have to go and consume again. Ooh, not a position you want to be in at all. While HuK is on 4 bases, has been denying the gas mining of Scarlett for so long. If you look at her bank, she's up to 4,000 minerals, but look at that gas. There's really nothing there. It's not that great at the moment.
She's just never been able to take a 3rd base, and once again, HuK pushing forward, time warping on the, pulling the Colossus straight into the Locust. That died the fastest I think I've ever seen a Colossus die.
The main is just getting ravaged by these Zealots. I like that Scarlett has decided to go for the Roach Hydra style as well in order to defend, because she has 20 Swarm Hosts at the moment. So Roach Hydra, Viper, Swarm Hosts, but can she actually afford it, and for how long? If she's able to mine from this 4th, maybe so, but HuK has been doing such a good job about
pushing in towards it again, just going for that 4th, going for the pronged attacks towards each side, always trying to pick off a 4th base whenever he goes in, and managing it almost every time. The Colossi are going to kill off those Locusts. Oh, the Stalker's getting a Viper for their trouble as well, although a Colossus was traded out for that, so, you know, maybe not the greatest reward there. But again, that 4th base taken out. Scarlett is being starved out so effectively by HuK.
Yeah, and she is up. She has 71 drones right now, and she can't utilize the majority of them. So she's just going to make them into Spine Crawlers, and that is, I mean, that's what I would do if I had so many minerals and can't spend my gas. And HuK is just being relentless. I would love to see him take a 4th base, or 5th base rather, as well, to continue this, because eventually he's going to be the one mining out, because he's the one throwing a lot of these minerals away and his gas, just to make sure that Scarlett never gets in a position to actually move out onto the map and take his army head on.
Yeah, I'm just watching these guys dancing around the map, and this is the first time I think I've seen HuK on his own side of the map with his army in about 5 minutes. He's just he's going back again, though. It's not lasting long. Just keeping shoving towards, checking to make sure there's no bases down that side. Even going to deny the creep spread, which is very important when facing off Swarm Hosts, because it stops the Locusts advancing as far across the map. Going to see him push towards those rocks now, which I can't remember if they've been taken down. I think they must have been from the look of that army there. And the Locusts are going to chase him away again and again. But every single time, he just pokes him where the army isn't, does a little bit of damage, gets back out.
Yep, and he's looking like he doesn't have a lot of money left over. His income is pretty good, but he does need that other base eventually, and it looks like he's setting up to take it, even getting some Archons just to soak up and maybe get some good splash damage in addition to the kind of ridiculous splash he already has. Well, he only has 4 Colossi now, never mind. But that Swarmhost count is continuing to grow, and Scarlett is finally able to breathe.
And don't underestimate the Archon. The Archon deals great damage to every single Zerg unit, and structure, because every Zerg unit and structure is biological. Archon's favorite treat.
Yep. So let's see here. Just like, get myself some biological at the...
Oh, yeah.
But, let's see here, though. HuK right now is... he's just making this ultimate army right now. And does he have Storm researched? I believe he does. Oh, it's on the way. So that's going to be the final blow to try to take Scarlett out, as we do see those Templar getting warped in. I'm wondering why he isn't taking this 4th base. Maybe he doesn't feel like he can defend it at the moment, but I think he could. It's not like Scarlett is able to really put that much pressure on. But
it's tough to say is the thing because of the wave like nature of the swarm hosts. If they do anything and they don't lose actual swarm host, they're okay. They're ahead because you can't regen health as fast as they regen actual units that do damage. As we see now with the Locust being pushed back immediately, Archon. Archon that dies. Okay, so that whole wave was worth it immediately. Yeah. 2 Archons die. That's 600 gas.
Yeah, Scarlett is set up in this position where it's so hard for HuK to actually break. But, I mean, she's holding on. She's a little bit broke. Not broke, but her income is starting to really dwindle. But if she can hold on and get another additional base, or even a second one, she may be able to pull this one out because HuK is just trying to make things happen, but he's starting to lose a lot more units. It was about even, you know, when he was all in the main and doing a lot of that harass with the Zealots and not, but now it's starting to be very cost efficient for Scarlett. Good abducts on those Colossi, but now all of the Locusts are done. The splash damage has been done as well, and this is HuK's moment. He's going to go for the base though instead and play the patient game as he doesn't want to lose this army and let Scarlett just get in a comfortable position. Really nice feedbacks on those Vipers, but this is not a fight I don't think he wants to take right now. Is he going to go for it though? He does have +3. He's going for it, but he's losing so much.
He lost a lot there, but at the same time, this Swarm Host, they are just about regenerating in time. 3 Swarm Hosts being picked off. Scarlett does just about... I mean, she has the money to replace these, but it's actually spending it on Hydralisks at this point. 2 Colossi in production for HuK, going to be taking himself up to the 5 Colossus mark, but actually losing a lot of army in that engagement. And all he really got for it was the 4th and a couple of Swarm Hosts.
Yeah. I feel like if he had pushed into that army with it, it would have been a big risk, whereas like if he does get the army, then it's great. He pushes in for the win. But if he kills the 4th, then he's playing the longer game, and since he established his own 5th, that may be what he wants to do. But he needs to not lose that 4th, or that 5th base. And this is nice Zealot warp in, breaking down the Spine Crawler wall. Hydras will make short work of them, though. Or will they?
Yes. Well, they will. They're all gone. They're all all the Zealots killed off very quickly.
Yeah. So this is
that's a lot of Archons being moved in.
Yeah, that is quite a bit of them. And it's all about the Colossi right now. You'll see some Protoss players go for the Stargate type of play in addition to this. But HuK, he loves his ground units quite a bit, and that's exactly what he's going to be going for. And I think Scarlett may be anticipating that, because if HuK is going for mass Archon, Templar, Colossi, Hydras are the last thing that you want against that in a direct fight. But they do allow the mobility of dealing with all of the warp-ins, so I guess, you gotta take, you can't win them all on all fronts.
I guess not, but I think Scarlett wants to win this one in particular, because obviously if she does, she goes straight into the final match to face off against Lil Kanin. At this point, it's looking more like HuK might be able to do it, because he's pushing forward with 6 Colossi, a bunch of Archons, and a ton of Stalkers, heading into the natural now, going to kill off that Evo Chamber, which I think has done all of its researching for this game for the moment. And I don't know if even this returning Swarm Host wave is going to be enough to deal with this.
No, I think this might be the push that actually seals it. Another wave of Locusts are going to go. Nope, he's just going to go on home, take on his economic advantage. Because he's pretty much gutted Scarlett at the moment. But this base is the last lifeline of Scarlett. I don't think that natural was, but it was mining gas, which she has a huge surplus of, to be honest. 9 Vipers, oh goodness, he's going for the super, I'm going to pull everything. And even if you feed back 1 or 2 or 3, I'm still going to have 12. Haven't seen that one yet. Let's see how it works out.
If it works, it's like the old Infestor style, If one Infestor was overpowered, then what's 62 Infestors?
Right.
And that is how Scarlett won almost every game in Wings of Liberty.
Yeah, and it still come as a surprise for HuK. Was like, yeah, look at that.
She just pulled a Zealot.
She did. You know what that means? That means I got 9 Vipers on the way, and I have no problem pulling that Zealot. Come at me.
I was going to say what it means is that Scarlett is a sassy lady, but your answer is good too.
That too. Well,
yeah. The Hydra's going to be fighting against those Zealots in the natural.
It's not as effective anymore because Scarlett does have that force. Hydras are pretty damn good against charge lots when they have 3/3. Charge Zealots that have +3 and you don't have any armor upgrades for Hydras, then it's a different story. But with that 3/3 upgrade, Hydras aren't too bad against those warp-ins. But now,
I think these Templar moved forward actually. I think they didn't last long. Their lives were forfeit for Aya, and force fielding out the Locust is pretty important as well. The Colossi are just making sure that nothing bad happens, keeping the entire army alive until the point where it's absolutely perfect. But if Scarlett is allowed, by some miracle, to get herself a serious bank up, then overcommitting to Colossi could be the killing blow for HuK.
Yeah.
He might be knocked out by that.
He has a lot of them, man. He's up to... Is it 6 Colossi? It's a healthy
8
amount.
with these 2 more.
Yeah, 2 more popping out. And he's mining from that base again. Big warping inside of that main of Scarlett, taking out the tech. He sees the Vipers now and is like, oh, okay, well then. Gonna have to be very careful. Gonna wish you had those 2 Templar that just decided to, like, join the Swarm. They're like, for the Swarm, yeah! And charged forward onto the creep. They were not accepted, though.
No. Storm's going down on those Locusts. That's not something you ever really want to be doing. And actually, seeing a High Templar with a lot of energy killed off there for its trouble. So Scarlett not being particularly forgiving of that decision at all by HuK. And these 8 Colossi now. 8 whole... Oh, great feedbacks. Those Vipers won't be doing anything for a little while. But the 8 Colossi are going to be really, really effective at dealing with Locusts. It's just not going to be able to really make that much happen. And we kind of want to see a tech switch out of Scarlett, but she just can't afford to.
She can't afford it, yeah. She's holding on so much right now, and this is the point. It's kind of like when you play against a meching Terran, where you just try to keep them off the base. This is what HuK has been trying to do all game, but Scarlett is starting to mine again, and she's taking another base on the left side. So if she's able to get back into this could be pretty problematic for HuK. Especially because if she has the freedom to tech switch, then yeah, like you were saying, this Colossi, if she gets some mutas out, if she gets... I don't even know. I mean, like, Ultralisk wouldn't be too bad at this moment.
I don't know. I just don't think that anything those Colossi can hit is going to be a good counter. So that rules out all
Not at
ground
all.
units. And one of the weakest parts of Zerg in terms of general flexibility is air, because the Corruptors just can't do that much unless they're massed up and the composition of the opponent is right, as in doesn't contain any Stalkers, which HuK's army does. And Broodlords will get killed off by Blink Stalkers. We'll see Mutas killed off by the Stalkers and the Archons. I just don't think there's anything Scarlett can make at this point that can really kill what HuK's cooking.
Yeah, and he's cooking, man. He's chefing up a storm. He doesn't have a mothership core here. Oh, no, he does. Okay, so he's not fully committed here, but he is going to make something happen. Exactly. He's already gutted the main, but he just wants to go in the game. Gonna lose.
Colossi.
Another one.
Yep. Down to 6 now. It's not often that's said. They're going to laser away at those Locusts. Another recall and a single Colossus left behind.
Uh-oh. You better run, boy. Run, Forrest. Don't stop, Forrest. Run.
He might just get away with it. He isn't good. No. Okay.
Fortunately, in Forrest Gump, there weren't any Vipers, so I did not see that one coming.
That's true. That's pretty unfair. Like in a race, though. Wait for your opponent to get to the end, pull him back to the start, and then race again when he's tired. That is a genius.
Run across America only to get pulled back by a Viper. That would be pretty sad. Make the movie about twice as long, too, but...
It's true. Almost exactly twice as long. But, yeah, he's going to push forward with his huge Colossus force. Actually, the Blinding Cloud's causing him to kind of shove these Colossi into danger and nearly losing another one, which he can't really afford to be doing. But HuK's money is probably better than Scarlett's, so maybe she should be the one talking about not being able to afford to do things.
Yeah, this is the point where you do need to go. I mean, maybe a while ago I mentioned it earlier, but I was feeling that HuK might have been even far enough ahead that he didn't need it. You do need to have those Tempests. You do need to have that Mothership and just even some Void Rays with this composition. Just because, I mean, Scarlett was so broke that she couldn't even afford to make anything. Infestors, she maybe Infestors because she had a lot of gas, but she wouldn't have been able to really deal with the like a fully fleshed out Protoss composition here. But I guess that one dimension of it was missing. And,
and this is... No, go.
I mean, look at what Scarlett has gotten. She's gotten onto another 2 mining bases, and she's the one that's putting HuK on the back foot.
She's maxed out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
bizarre to say, but she's...
Which makes her army incredibly powerful, and she's just mining. Swarmhosts are a unit you can use in order to kind of benefit the fact of having less workers. As long as you don't lose them. You lose them, then if you don't have a big enough bank, you're in trouble, boy.
Yeah, you've got to be super careful here. HuK should have the income to back up everything he's been pulling around the map all game. But with these 8 Colossi, if Scarlett's allowed to get back into this economically, then we could see that tech switch that will just be able to kill this army.
Yeah. Well, HuK continuing to produce a lot of these Colossi. Scarlett is at a point now where she can kind of look at the army composition of HuK and even react to it herself. You know, she's a lot of big warpins in the main again, but this is very scary. A lot of the Templar though, with HuK's army, are starting to get picked off by these Locusts, and yeah, HuK is losing things left and right at this point, down to about 50,000 resources lost to Scarlett's 32,000. So
yeah. Lost a lot.
Like
They've both lost a lot. It's getting even towards that kind of late game, low income stage where you just see players. Scarlett's been there for a long time, is now kind of pulling out of it and actually has bases to mine from. HuK has mined most of his bases. He's nearly finished mining out his 4th base, and when you're in that stage of things, we've already seen him sacrificing some probes just to grow his army to the point where he can kind of attack with a significantly overstrength army for what is normal, and I like that decision. I do like the point that he's getting towards in this game, but I'm just not sure if he isn't giving Scarlett too much of an opportunity to pull in and deal with everything he's done.
Oh, he definitely is at this point now. But it wasn't even like he was giving Scarlett the opportunity. He was pressing so hard, and he was putting pressure everywhere. It was just that he couldn't break. He couldn't break that that wave of swarm hosts. Like, that has been a lot. These swarm hosts have been, I don't even want to know how many kills they all have, but not going to even bother. They've just been killing things left and right and letting Scarlett get back into this. It's just that point where HuK is looking and is like, this can't be possible, right? Like, there's no way. But it's just that needed. I think you just do need to go for that kind of sky toss composition, or at least mix it into your army.
I'd like to see it, certainly. Getting the Sky Toss would probably help quite significantly with dealing with the Locusts, because obviously they can't shoot up, which is kind of a handicap in that situation. But HuK has steadfastly avoided it.
Yep. And, I mean, you would think sometimes, too, when you get to a certain amount of Colossi that you can, but it was just never able to be broken, and now we're seeing Scarlett already has her creep spread quite a bit. Well, keeps getting hit back by HuK. He's going to lose his 4th base, which is pretty much the last mining base of his that even has minerals at it. And that's it, man. HuK is at 370 minerals and 98 gas, and he's losing his army. Well, no, where is his army, actually? I have no idea where his army is. It's just hanging out somewhere. He's just chilling, having a Protoss party.
Well, Protoss party is the best kind of party.
Oh, here it comes.
It has most like sweet lasers and awesome special effects.
Disco ball.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that would be sweet. Actually, I would go to that party, but not if I was anything other than Protoss, of course. And these Locusts going to push towards the. Actually, it's not mined out, is it? It looked more mined out. Oh, it's a different base. That's why.
Yeah. But if it was, if you were a changeling, then would you go to a Protoss party still?
Yeah, no, I'd try. I'd certainly try and get in.
You'd have to try to get in. It's like a kid trying to get in without an ID to like.
Exactly, it's fake ID, man. That's exactly what it is. There's so many swarmos here for Scarlett. We're just going to see this big Locust wave push everything that HuK has back once again. I think killing off 2 Colossi. Storm's going down. Might even kill a swarm host, but not quite.
Nope. And this is going to be the nail, I think, because Scarlett should be able to reposition these swarm hosts if she wants to and kill that base at whatever point she wants. Luckily for HuK, though, that creep spread isn't all the way there. But here she goes. And, whoop, gotta watch out, though. HuK can get some nice feedbacks here.
Building up
Stay
to
back!
it.
Stay back!
Don't come near me! No, it's not enough. Every single time, HuK is being gradually ground down by the 3 units. And when that happens, as I said earlier, every time they do any damage, they were cost effective that wave. And Scarlett's lost maybe 4 swarm hosts this whole game, like barely any, and HuK has lost 4 Colossi at the very least.
Oh, well, she definitely has a little bit more than 4, of course. She has 30. She has lost quite a bit, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, you have to look at what HuK has lost as well. You know, 200 Zealots, just a lot of Archons, 12 Colossi, and
wow.
It's quite a bit of units. He's pretty much used a lot of his resources, but not able to actually trade efficiently with them. And when you trade against free units, it's just going to be that way. So HuK is down to his last legs. Literally, I mean, he's literally hopping on a wooden stick. Yeah. Not even a peg that was, given to you by a doctor. It just, he went out, snapped a twig off of a tree, started hopping on it, man.
He is limping along as best he can. Scarlett, conversely, she was a bit crippled at one point, but now she has replaced both of her legs with those shiny like bouncy ones, the ones that like the runners have. But she is just bounding back into this, looking very, very strong, building a ton of static D and getting herself into the situation where she can just move out and win.
Yep. And it's just going to be
Very slowly with
slow
almost.
death. Yeah, it will be a very slow death animation, as we do say sometimes. But Scarlett has done it. She held on. She wasn't able to be broken, and now I think she's going to be able to do it and go ahead into that winners match. Not want to call it early, but look at this. HuK just has no mining. He just has a bunch of colossi, and whenever they choose to accept their fate, is when we most likely will be seeing that GG coming out of our. Well, they're both Canadians. I was going to say our Canadian Protoss player, but...
Well, you got Canadian Protoss and Canadian Zerg.
Canadian Zerg.
There's just so many swarm hosts death marching
Just too
across
many.
whenever they feel like it.
With 3-3 as well.
Yeah.
So, looks like we're going to see that here as HuK goes to the right side of the map. Maybe trying to take this base, but he can't because he just doesn't have enough minerals.
No, there's nothing. This is where the army is, and Scarlett knows that this is where the army is now. I'm wondering if she might just try and set up for this to be the final engagement, the engagement that ends it all with the locusts around. And the problem with that is, of course, they get off the creep and then they kind of die and run out of time, and it keeps on extending and extending. Seeing that recall, actually, where did he go with that?
To this base here. The thing is,
There you
like,
go.
he may have been trying to make Scarlett get a little bit overconfident and just, like, pop out and then catch her off guard and kill the army, because if he kills the swarm host and starts to really get on top of the production, then he can like his army is pretty scary. But I mean, Scarlett doesn't have the gas to like remax on meters or anything, so if Scarlett did slip up, it'll just be a bunch of lings most likely coming out, and well, I don't think that's actually going to happen here. Scarlett playing it incredibly patiently as she has this whole game, and it's just going to be a matter of time. And depending on what she decides to do exactly, she might even sacrifice some of the swarm hosts to get some more aggressive units just to do it. But she doesn't have to. It's really her game to lose at this point.
It is. No, it was, but then it was HuK's game to lose earlier, and that happened. So maybe we'll see the reverse miracle. It could
I know,
happen.
yeah. Could happen.
I don't think it can happen. That was a very optimistic. It could happen. So HuK is trying his hardest to make it happen.
Abducting the
pull the
observer. And that is there's two more.
It's just
If
rude
that was
at this
the last
point.
one. That was. It all started with the pull of that zealot, man. I'm telling you.
That was the change up.
Didn't
Like she
matter.
was losing, and then she pulled that zealot, and
Pulled that
just
zealot.
HuK's confidence went. He just
Absorbed
went,
the power of Protoss and was like, oh.
"What power of Protoss? Here they are being crushed by simple pulls
Yep.
into the locusts." Happening
Indeed.
again.
It's just crazy at the moment. Like HuK's army is just getting
Smaller and smaller.
whittled down, and with these Vipers here, well, actually some nice feedbacks, but
No,
It's
he's
just-
losing too many at this point. I think he knows at this point. He's pushing forward with the Colossi, doing the best he can, but even with the storms going down the Locusts, storm spent on Locusts isn't wasted energy, but it's not energy well spent, because they're going to die anyway. Their life is timed at the best of times. HuK's army is so tight. Yep, GG. There you go. There
Scarlett
you go.
takes the series 2-0.